Thank you. It was a major accomplishment, especially after they told me that no one has ever reached 100%. So it was a little competitive for me, a little bit of an internal challenge. So super exciting and it feels like a big accomplishment. So we are a small townhome community made up of 94 2 and 3 bedroom townhomes. We're in the Sango area of Clarksville, Tennessee, and we have a diverse mix of residents. We have military personnel, we have single professionals, families, a mix of a little bit of everything. So the free sticker was the free permit was probably the number one tool that I used. Who doesn't love free things, right? Especially for residents that have been here and were a little wary of the policy changes. It softened the blow, so to speak, a little bit about not having to pay for the permit. So I thought that was a nice touch to be able to offer that at no additional cost to them for their first permit. So that was my number one tool. The fact that it expired after 30 days was also really nice because it created a sense of urgency for them. So it was really nice. I also was super encouraging. When I talked to residents when we rolled this out, they're going to be more likely to get behind something that you're behind. So if you feel like this is going to be a positive change for the community and you can let them know how it's going to benefit them, then they're more likely to be just as excited about it. So I use a multifaceted variety of things, a little bit of everything. Email has become a little bit of an archaic thing that we use, and not everybody reads their emails. I think a lot of communities tend to inundate their residents with emails, so they're like, oh, not them again. So email, we did use that. We used our mass texting option. I even pounded the pavement. I got flyers and I hung them on the doors. I created excitement, urgency. I used Canva to create really fun and exciting flyers. So that was a huge tool that I used that I thought created excitement. It created a sense of urgency as well. I really promoted that that promo code to get them to, hey, this is only good for 30 days. Let's get this going. And we had out the door, we had a good response. How did I get my team involved? I am the team. It's just me. I'm a one-woman show here. But what I would do if I were a larger community or if I had maintenance staff on site, I would utilize them as well. So I would probably print out like a 4x4 flyer for maintenance technicians to maybe leave on the counter when they're going in their homes to do service requests, just reminding them, hey, if you haven't gotten your Reliant Parking sticker, the time to do that is now. Don't forget your promo code. I would just do a little bit of everything just to constantly remind them, hey, this is something that is going to be taking effect really soon, and it's free, so do it now while it's free. I mean, of course, like everything else, everything comes with its challenges. I think the biggest one was that people didn't read their emails. So I think by utilizing text, by talking to people verbally, hanging the flyers on their doors, I made some phone calls just reminding them, hey, you don't want to miss out on the free promo code. So today's the last day, or this is the last week that you can get it for free. So let's go ahead and get you enrolled. So those were probably the biggest challenges. And then obviously you've got people that just aren't in compliance already. You have the people that have more vehicles than they're supposed to have, or you have folks that have residents living with them that shouldn't be there, that have their vehicles on site. So this also works for me as like a checks and balances type process that helps me keep control of the number of residents that are on site. So it doesn't help with just parking, it helps with other facets of managing the property as well. I think overall it was a positive response. Like I said, you have people that typically aren't in compliance, so they were less thrilled about it than the people who maybe were struggling to find parking in the evenings due to unauthorized vehicles being on site. So the people that were in compliance and doing what they were supposed to do, they were super excited about it. The fact that the first permit was free and it's only $25 a year made it a little easier, a little palatable for them, a little more palatable for them to accept a new policy rollout. But for the most part, it was pretty good. We did have people that waited until the last minute. We had some people that were a little confused about how many vehicles they could register, things like that. But I think that's to be expected with any new policy, just ironing out the kinks. But I would say overall, people were pretty receptive. And even the ones that were upset about it, once I had the opportunity to explain to them how this was going to be beneficial, how it was going to be beneficial to them specifically, they were okay with it. Oh my gosh, you guys were great. I am not the most tech savvy person, admittedly so, but they have been super kind. They have been super helpful. They have been readily available to answer all of my questions. They even slipped me a little reward for being the first person to get to 100%. So that was nice. That was unexpected. But yeah, everybody's been great, from Lance to Michelle. And actually, a little tidbit, not part of the question, you can include this if you want, but we did talk to Michelle last year when we first opened the property. And I was like, this isn't something that the Clarksville market really does. That's more of a Nashville thing. But when they started doing it at one of my sister properties and they talked about how well it was working there, and then we brought it over here, plus the tow company is super excited about it. They're like, oh my gosh, they make this almost foolproof. I got excited about it. And knowing that we were struggling with parking, as we do in multifamily communities, I was super excited to get on board. And I think this is life-changing. I actually even invited Michelle to come out to our local Property Management Association meeting next month. And hopefully she'll be able to make it, because if this is something that we could get implemented in the Clarksville market, I do think it's going to change how we manage parking moving forward in this market. Absolutely. The integration, I think, is key. If you can integrate with the software that you use, it updates, I believe, every 4 hours, if I am not mistaken on that. And so it automatically puts everybody in the system. So that takes a lot of data entry pressure off of me, or data entry work off of me to have to do. Again, being a one-woman show, it's all on me to do. So it's just one less step that I have to take by not having to put them into the system manually. So I would say if you are able to integrate, and Reliant Parking is something that you're wanting to do, you should definitely go that route. Pretty simple. It was just a matter of, hey, give these folks access. So yeah, pretty simple, straightforward, and which makes it easier for me, because again, I'm not very tech savvy. So it's nice. It's a nice feature to have. And I'm all about automation. So the less I have to do manually, the better. My enforcement partner is West Nashville Towing. And yes, as I said, they were on board, and they were actually one of the reasons why I was so encouraged. When I talked to them about getting started, the tow truck driver, the owner of the company, I can't remember what his role is, but he was so excited. He said, this is a remarkable thing. He said, we're used to doing things very old school. So when they first brought this out, we were a little hesitant about it, but it prevents us from towing by mistake. And he said, it's almost foolproof. So the fact that he was excited about it made me excited about it. Yes. Now, I will say that was one thing. So everybody had accounts, and I would say 90+% were in compliance. And I say that with air quotes because a few people didn't have their second vehicles registered. There were some folks that were a little confused about what to do with guest situations. So I did do a dry run with the tow company, the enforcement company, and then I gave residents feedback. When we did the dry run, he counted how many vehicles could have been towed, and it was 12. So whether that was because their tags were expired, but they had the permit, or they didn't have the permit, whatever reason, they weren't in compliance. So I did send out another email to the residents saying, hey, we did a dry run last night. These are the things that we found. We found 12 vehicles that weren't in compliance. So we're giving you the opportunity to make this right, and then we're going to officially enforce on X date. I think I gave them 2 or 3 days from that point to get their vehicles in compliance. So when we did finally tow that first night, we did have 4 vehicles that were towed. 4 of them, 3 of the 4 of them had expired tags, but they did have the permits, so they were in compliance with Reliant, but they weren't in compliance with state laws. And then the other one just didn't have a permit. So, but I will say the resident who he was a guest of was made well aware of the policy. So just choosing not to do what he was supposed to do was kind of on him. But I think overall, 4 vehicles the first night, going from 12 to 4, I thought was a big deal. Because they could have towed 12 vehicles the first night we did the dry run. And giving them the opportunity to make it right. I also think establishes a rapport with the residents, a relationship, saying, hey, she's not out to just tow vehicles. She truly is trying to make the parking situation on site better for us. So I wasn't trying to be mean or just towed for towing's sake. I'm truly trying to make this smooth operation. Be proactive and be persistent. Use all avenues of communication that you possibly can, so that way we all know how residents are. I didn't know. You didn't tell me. So everybody is in the know. You're using email. You are using flyers. You're using the mass text message if your software has that feature. You're creating urgency and excitement through telling them how great this is going to be and how this is going to benefit them. You create the urgency by promoting the free sticker or the free permit, saying, hey, this is a limited time, let's get this done. And then also I had people that were on my side. I was like, I'm really trying to get to 100%. They've never had anybody get to 100% before, so I want to be the first. So I had residents that were really on board with that and got super excited and a little competitive with me. So it was super nice to get them on board too. And again, it builds a relationship with the residents. And us being a smaller, tight-knit community, and I'm the only staff member here, it's important to me to have good relationships with all of them. So it was a positive experience overall. Again, as far as strategies, just be proactive, be persistent, and stay on top of them, and use all sources of communication that you can. Overall, I think it was just a great experience, start to finish. I'm super excited. We're just now getting this rolled out. I know they've come around a few times since the initial time, and no vehicles have been towed since. So it's working. That's good. So that's all I really have. It's just been a great experience all around.